Yeah. Sir is not here.
I've just called him. He must be joining
Yeah.
in a few minutes. Yeah.
We'll start. I'll just give you guys a quick brief of what is going to happen. And we've already asked one of our assistants to be here and check the timing and to announce when they're going past the given time limit. So there'll be a 30-second warning and everything. So I'll just roughly give an idea of what we did for the trials so that everything's clear. And if you have anything to ask or any last minute clarifications, you can do that now.
Okay. Thank you. So who will be doing the keeping the timing and announcing the time?
His name is Bodhis Rojan. He should be joining along with the Likit.
Hello.
Good evening.
One second. I don't have to say all these things, guys. Hello. I mean, who all are there in the video right now? Nagul and Shakti, Nilayana.
Niana and Nagalan Sakti is Likit joining from a different device. Sir.
Okay. Just a couple of minutes.
Sure,
I
sir.
just set up, like, I had a small issue with my earphone. That's why I couldn't. So just one second. I mean, people haven't started joining, right? I mean, the ones who are participating.
We haven't shared the link with them, sir. I thought I'd have a quick talk with
So
you
one
guys.
thing, couple
just
of
to clear
seconds,
up.
So first
Okay,
thing
no
is,
problem,
we
sir.
had to, after each round, we need to send the Excel sheet to you.
Yeah. So for each round, so I'm not telling you the names of the houses or the participants. I've told them as well to not reveal that. That's why I said
Okay.
team 1 versus team 2 and then team 3 versus team 4. So I'll ask them to introduce themselves to you also in that order.
Okay.
So after each round, so for the first round, just the columns with 1 and 3, or sorry, 1 and 2 will be filled. And for the second
Okay.
round, 3 and 4. So separate scorecards for each.
So first round, now what you have given us, it has just one table.
Yeah, right.
So that one table is for, one second.
It's
Debate
up to
competition.
It's for all 4 teams, like all
Yeah.
4 teams. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3. It will be team A and B for the first and second, and the third
Yeah.
and fourth will be
So
team. Yeah.
the one sheet for one round, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
So you
yes.
just
All-
need to
both-
fill
I
in
think
the
2
rows
rounds.
for 1 and 2 for the first round, like that.
Okay. I mean, then for each round, we'll have to send a separate sheet.
Yeah, sir. Whatever works for you is fine. But then I
mean,
do
no.
need the
I'm asking you
round
because it's a
update.
little. I had this doubt yesterday as well, because now if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, let's assume they are for the teams.
Yeah.
And it's for like there's all these criteria like respect and decorum, all these stuff. So this is for one group. This is for one round.
I actually should have made it just 1 and 2. This is like the common template that we use for everything. That's why I just shared the same thing with you. Do you want me to edit it to be just 1 and 2?
It's okay. It's okay. See, I'll do something. If
Hmm.
there is any confusion, we'll discuss it among ourselves.
Okay, okay, that's fine. So just keep redoing the sheets, sir. Like you have the Excel, just do 1 and 2. Ignore the 3 and 4 parts. So
Okay.
every round will be different, right? So we know that 1 is the first team and 2 is the second team. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll work that out later. That shouldn't be an issue.
One is for first team, second is for second team. Okay, fine. Understood.
Yeah.
All makes sense now.
Okay. And I have mentioned which team will be arguing for and which team will be against. For the second round, we'll pick the chits or do the toss in about 5 minutes or so. So right now, we'll go ahead with the first round and we'll share the link with the teams. But before that, I just want to explain the format. The same thing
Yeah.
as what is happening in the rule book. So first, we'll have the presentations that they have prepared beforehand, and that will be 3.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes per team. And then
Okay.
there'll be a short break of 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, where they move into rooms, where we put them into breakout rooms so they can discuss their strategy for the next round. And
Acha,
then
okay.
there'll be a cross questioning session where they have already heard their arguments or their opposing team's arguments. So they put forth only questions. So at this time, you can choose to ask questions as well. If you have a genuine, something that you would like them to answer or you'd like to hear about specifically from that team, you can choose to ask at this time as well. And then again, so that will be, I think, 1.5 minutes, 1.5 minutes per team. This will also be announced by the person keeping the time. And then once again, there'll be a breakout room thing where they'll be gone for 2 to 3 minutes. And we'll resume with the third session or third segment, which will be for 2.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes, where they answer all the questions that have been put forward during the cross questioning segment. And then we'll wind up. So that's all. Anything you may have to say in between and all, you both of you can speak up. There should be no issue. Is
Okay,
everything
so
fine?
we also, if we want to ask questions, we also ask during the rebuttal round.
Second round,
Second
the
round.
cross questioning
Yes.
round. Or
Oh,
towards the
okay.
end also is fine. After they're done with the rebuttal and everything, and still you have something that remains unclarified, you may choose to ask them.
Oh, okay.
Is everything fine on both your sides? Can we add them to the call?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
fine.
We'll go ahead and start. Okay.
Just one question.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
asking, will the participants also be switching? Not also. Will they be switching on their cameras?
They will be switching on the cameras. I've asked them to keep all the cameras on so you can see who is who. And I'll ask them to introduce themselves before they start as well. Just as
Sure.
team 1 and team 2 or team 3 and team 4.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So we can go ahead. Okay, Nikhil, please share the link in the group and start streaming as well. So this will be streamed live on YouTube.
Oh, that's nice.
For the others. So we're not allowing anyone else to be part of the meet itself. They can watch from live from YouTube. So if there is anything you need to ask us in between the debate, you can just text directly in the group that we have.
WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I'll be online the whole time, so I can answer whatever you need to know. Once again, we're really happy to have you both here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your, I'm sure, our very busy schedules to be here. Participants will also be really thrilled. We actually have not announced who the judges will be. So I
Okay.
hope
No,
everything goes
thank you.
well.
Thank you for inviting us. It was good. We were very happy to join. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
We're happy you remembered us like it was. So
Thank you so much for coming, ma'am. Yeah. Okay, so the participants have started joining. Okay, I'll be muted the entire time. I won't be actively participating, but I'll be available online in case you need anything. Okay, participants, please introduce yourselves. Please turn on all your cameras first of all. Introduce yourselves with your names and whatever team you belong to, as in team one or team two.
Can you repeat your name? I couldn't hear both of your name. Both of your names. The first guy as well as the second guy. Second one.
My name is Aman Vig. Aman Vig,
Okay.
Team 1.
Okay.
Shikha Datta, Team 1. Good evening. I'm Aditya Murekar from Team 1.
Good evening. I'm Aditya Ghosh from Team 1.
Good evening. Video. Good evening. I'm Archasman Mandal from Team 2.
Good evening. I'm Niharika Mehta from Team 2.
Good evening. I'm Gautam Kirish from Team 2.
Okay, the leader of team two can just make the introduction for the fourth member since he.
Just wait a second. Yasavardhan is having some net troubles. He will be joining in a second. He's trying to rejoin.
Okay,
Good
we'll
evening,
start
everyone. My
anyway.
name is- Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Just go ahead.
Okay, so good evening, honorable judges, respected opponents, and any members of the audience. I represent Team 1, and my team firmly stands in favor of the motion that yes, standardized tests are a valid measurement of a student's performance. If we are serious about improving education, we have to be serious about measuring it. This quote by Bill Gates emphasizes exactly the need for a standardized test to be there. How do we ensure that we can assess a group of students fairly, without bias, and without being unfair to students from different backgrounds, ethnicities, or regions? Well, we can't, not without standardized testing. The neutral, consistent framework of standardized testing provides an equal platform away from personal bias and grade inflation. From India's NEET and JEE to the global SAT and TOEFL, Standardized tests have enabled millions to be assessed based only on merit, not on ethnicity, not on language, and not on location. Sure, standardized tests are not perfect by any meaning of the word. They do have flaws, but no single test is ever perfect.
Standing firmly with my teammates. In a world where fairness, objectivity, and accountability are three important pillars of any education system, tests provide an efficient and effective system to analyze a student's performance. These type of tests treat every student equally. So the chances of having any teacher's personal preference or any inconsistencies during classroom grading are totally dismissed. It sets a level playing ground. Now, these tests are data driven and are measurable, thus giving us a quantifiable measure so that we can assess the progress and track different progress levels of the students. Also gives us a chance to pinpoint the areas that need to be improved. If a large group does not perform well, the head of the institution or the head can be held accountable. This is one of the major positive or the advantages of having standardized tests. Some may argue that it is based on rote memorization, but nowadays these assessments are far more modernized and evolved. So they are based on essays, or they are critical, or they are based on critical thinking, problem solving, and logic based. Now, one may also say that these form so much stress, but which evaluating system does not have stress in it? Be it your interviews, your exams, or a day in your life, everything is stressful. There have been many policies that prove that standardized tests are fruitful. First being the National Education Policy of 2020, be it the National Digital Library or the NPTL. This gives us an organized and standard resource for everyone. Thank you.
Sure. Niharika, go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. And as a representative of Team 2, I'm here to speak against the motion. Let's call it what it is. Standardized testing is a broken system dressed up as fairness. It claims to measure intelligence and potential, but in reality, it rewards rote memorization, punishes creativity, and systematically disadvantages students from under-resourced communities. Standardized testing does not level the playing field. It reinforces the divide. It reduces students to data points and teachers to test prep machines. If education is meant to unlock potential, then standardized testing is the lock, and it's time we find a better key.
Okay, we are sacrificing real learning right now, real growth and real equity for a scan and a score. A single test designed in a boardroom cannot possibly reflect a full complexity of a student's mind or learning journey. We to college who gets funding and who is labeled as smart or failing. These tests don't measure intelligence. Measure how well you take the test, how well can you memorize. And when you do not do real well in such tests, you are labeled as failure. And let's be real, students aren't failing the system is failing them. Thank you.
Supporting the point made by my teammate, tests like JEE or NEET boil a person down to one rank, a number assigned to them for giving an exam, one singular exam for a few hours on one day. This can make or break a person's dream or their outlook for the future. All the while, a better system already exists. We usually put the population argument when going for standards tests in a country like India. But top universities like MIT, Harvard, Oxford usually get similar or even larger amount of applicants. So they use a standardized testing method to test general cognitive abilities like SAT. But the main thing they look at is their portfolios or CVs of individual students which apply there. Universities use an ATS software to sort out resumes according to the standards they have set before. This way, they can select the students they want, and all the while they can also focus on their extracurricular skills, the additional skills the student might have developed during their lifetime. Going to Yasavardhan.
In conclusion, I would like to say standardized test only rewards memorization, not understanding. It benefits those with resources, not necessarily anyone with talent. Education should be a ladder for opportunity, not only a race that the privileged can win. If we truly want to build an inclusive and innovative world, we should focus more on building and creating spaces where students are tested on their real capacity, not what a score or a rank they can score on that particular day.
Yes, yes, we are done. We are done.
We are done. We are done.
So, as you said, that it is, yes, the standardized testing system is a data-driven system. But how would you objectively compare a student, for example, from an elite Delhi school and one from a rural place, a rural Jharkhand school without a common entrance exam? And also, there are countries like Germany and Poland who reformed their education policies after they did poorly in the PISA test. Without such data, how will you know what part of the system is failing?
If you are failing at a given test, you should not blame the system. Maybe you are not prepared enough to sit for that exam. How do you combat that?
Also, like if we remove standardized systems, how will you ensure merit-based admissions across? For example, if we take India, as there are millions of people with varied school boards and grading systems, and we can know that, for example, if you consider our COVID times when the board exams were not taken, and rather that internal marks were be given, and the internal marks can be manipulated easily, and the grades may vary widely. So how will you cater that?
Gautam, go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to start with, if standardized tests are so valid, why don't companies use them to hire people instead of interviews, portfolios, and internships? Question number 2. If I fail one 3-hour test during studying a subject for 3 months, am I a failure or a system broken? Third question. Do you think an anxious student writing under pressure represents their real capability better than someone explaining a concept calmly to peer? My fourth question is, if test scores measure intelligence, does that mean every low scorer is unintelligent? Question number 5. How do you measure kindness, innovation, collaboration, leadership in a standardized format? Thank you. My questions are answers. If you want to continue. It's fine.
No, I think that would be enough from us.
All right, so team 2 is done. Okay.
Yeah.
So just one shot. So we'll have an introduction of the judges real quick. And if they have any questions, that will also be brought up right now. So you guys can go to the breakout rooms after this and we will get to discuss and come back and we'll move on to the rebuttal round. Judges, please.
Okay, I'll start then. One second, I'll start my video. Hello all. I am Srihari. So I haven't seen any of you, I guess. I passed out in 2022. So I only know the fourth years currently was studying at that institute. So I'm right now doing my PhD at Indian Institute of Science. So yeah, enough of my introduction. So I had a couple of questions. I had a question for each team, I guess. So my first question will go to team one. So please note what I'm asking. So I'm asking is someone said that I don't exactly remember the name of the person who said that there will be level playing ground when you talk about standardized test. I have a question. Is there any level playing ground in the amount of resources for basic education, for all the available opportunities to the common public? If until unless that kind of level playing, if we can talk about level playing ground when we have a level playing sort of platform of opportunities as well, opportunities and all the kind of help as well. So this is, if you have a, I want a response for this. And second question is to team two is, someone said that better systems are possible. Are there any better systems that actually exist and they are actually good, and are they actually really helping, or they are inclusive of all the kind of students and all the kind of people in this entire earth? Yeah. That's it. Shweta, you can ask if you have anything.
Okay. Hello, hello everyone. I'm Shweta Jodha, and I'm from like the 2019 to 2023 batch. I also know I think the present fourth and third years, and I'm doing my master in renewable energy in the marine environment. I'm presently doing my thesis at École Centrale Nantes in France. So that's about me. And the questions I had, to team one, I have a question, building on what Sri Hari said also, and I want to ask how would you defend standardized testing, where uh, where there are underprivileged students who lack the resources, yes, for excelling in such standardized test, and also how when there are standardized tests, the learning becomes test, even teachers prefer to teach only that what is important in exams. So how do you combat that in standardized testing? And for team two, I have a question. What scalable and practical alternative can you give to standardized testing that is very accurate and very fair? Yes, that's all from my side. You can continue.
Guys, any reason why they're not all in the same room?
So the way the breakout rooms work, sir, is that so they'll be in the meet, but it'll be in separate rooms. So we won't be able to see them. And so there's a time off set for I think 3 minutes. So after 3 minutes, they'll be asked to join back the main room, which is where we are right now. So we won't be able to access their separate breakout room. So each team will get one room where they have to discuss.
No, what I'm asking is, since all of you are in the campus only, like, was there any reason why they could have been given one room, right? One classroom to four students or something like that?
There are students who have gone home, sir, because this is around New Year, Easter time. So there's quite a lot of holidays. So people have gone home. So that's why we chose the online alternative.
Both of you are in which year?
Third year, sir.
Okay. Someone from team 1 has joined. When is the academic year ending for you all?
It will end in June, sir.
It's still so late on me. Okay, they haven't changed the time scheduling.
Yeah. Alright, so the participants have rejoined, so I think we can proceed
Okay.
to the last round. Niket?
So for the first question that team 2 asked was the portfolio based, like why only why there are interviews and suggestion of portfolios even though standardized tests are so preferred. If you see that even as you only your team only said that there are these standardized tests acts as a filter. They are not the only criteria on which they are designing. Before being an interview, there should be a filter. Second question is the with respect to standardized test causes stress or anxiety. So yes, they do, but so does any performance evaluation, be it music audition or a job interview. But for that, we have a in psychology we have exposure therapy, which reduces fear by more we are exposed to it. The same applies for so instead of scrapping exams, we should prepare students through mock test, exam simulations, and mentorship. And with respect to the EQ factor, the standardized test does not only mean that it is a written exam. There are we have SSBs which are exams of 5 days, and which also includes the EQ factor on the physical factors. We have exams like JEE Advanced, which does not does JEE Advanced or ISC entrance exam, which does not only follow those for criteria, rather the innovation part and the conceptual part as well.
I would like to answer the third question, which was about test scores and intelligence and whether a person who scores less marks will be a failure. Given that these major standardized tests are always done in 2 to 3 sittings. So if a student is smart enough, the student won't fail. The student will score minimum marks. And if the student is not prepared enough, that's the only reason the student will fail.
Yeah, and to answer the judge's question, like just because there are lesser resources, we shouldn't dispose of the system whole. We should like
Many policies such as national education policy or the NPTL.
Okay, Niharika, go ahead.
To answer the very first question that was posed on how can we, without standardized testing, how can we compare a Delhi boy to a rural Jharkhand boy? Why are we trying to compare them in the first place as if they're products of an assembly line? The very question assumes that both students had equal opportunities and access to resources, qualified teachers, and stable environments. And we both all know that's not true. Standardized testing does not level the playing field. It just pretends to. A city boy with private tutors, advanced tech, and better schools will almost always outperform a rural boy. That is the problem with standardized testing. Comparing them with the same test isn't fair, it's lazy. If we really care about them, we should access growth, effort, creativity, not just one size fits all test scores.
Okay, I would answer the next question. The next question is if you are failing, why are you like blaming the system? Okay, the system is literally designed to make some people fail. Okay, it rewards memory over creativity, speed over understanding. And blame the system isn't an excuse, it's diagnosis. When a plane crashes, we don't say blame the system, we blame the pilot. No, we investigate, we find the problem in the system, so we fix it. So failure is not just individual, it's structural. And let me ask you, if a student if a farmer's son studying by lantern can't match the IIT coaching kid from Kota, is this failure or inequality? And moving on to the next question, name better systems that replaces standardization. Yes, one is portfolio-based assessment, one is project-based learning, next is competency-based education, fourth is Viva and oral defenses, fifth is 360 degree feedback. Thank you.
Okay, to answer the judges' questions, yes, ma'am, sir, there are many systems which are used by universities like MIT and Harvard to sort through portfolios on a large scale. Because one of the things they see is already your SAT score, but SAT is not really like a technical exam like JEE or NEET, as we know. So now going back to something like I'm going to name some systems. One of the largest players is called Slate. It has like a mass ingestion and storage feature, and it also has their own reviewers which work with the community they are helping with to create a reviewer workflow, and which really helps the university sorts out faster. And there is also another alternative called Slide Room, which is basically a portfolio engine, they call it.
Thank you.
Hello, Shweta.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah,
I,
I mean, you couldn't pick up.
I can't connect. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fine.
Okay.
Sure, we'll leave it. Then
Okay,
we'll give
we'll
another
leave
link. Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with an introduction of the participants. All participants, please turn on your cameras. And team 3, please start with your introductions. Team 4, please follow after. Okay, we'll start with an introduction of the participants. All participants, please turn on your cameras. And team 3, please start with your introductions. Team 4, please follow after.
Good morning, judges. Myself, Manav Pathak. I am team 3, and my teammates may follow after this.
Okay, we'll start with the introduction of the participants. All participants, please turn on your cameras. And team 3, please start with your introductions. Team 3.
Good evening, everyone. I am Manav Pathak from team 3.
Good evening, everyone. I am Deepak Bohara from Team 3.
Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening, everyone. I am Afzal Hussain. I am from Team 3.
All right, team 4.
Good evening, judges. My name is Tejas, Team 4. Good evening, judges. I'm Shane Bhatnagar. I'm Team 4.
Good evening to everyone. This is Anindya Mukherjee, and I am here to represent Team 4.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ikya Kuelo, and I'm representing Team 4.
Right, now that everyone's here, we'll have a quick introduction of the judges.
Hello everyone. I'm Shweta Jodha. I'm from 2023 batch of IMUV. Yes, and I'm doing my master in renewable energy in the marine environment from Ecole Centrale Non, France. And I'm really happy to join you guys.
Hi, all of you. So good to see a couple of familiar faces. Like I saw a couple of fourth year students. The only ones I know. So yeah, I'm Srihari. I passed from IMU in 2022. Currently, I'm doing my PhD in atmospheric and oceanic sciences at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, IISc Bangalore. Yeah, so we can start. Just 1 second. Can you again repeat the topic?
Sir, the topic is individual freedom is more important than collective security.
Okay, thank you.
Shall we proceed? Is there a disconnection or something? Shall we proceed?
The timer will be shown at the top of your screen. It's at 3 minutes right now. Okay, we'll ask them to reset the timer.
It's not visible to me. Can we start again or something?
Yeah, we can start again.
Surely. Thank you so much.
Right, the timer is starting now.
On my fellow debaters, I am here to speak about in favor of the notion individual freedom is more important than collective security. From the beginning of human civilization, freedom has been the driving force between progress, innovation, and human dignity. It is individual freedom that allows people to think, speak, and act according to their own conscience. It is what gives meaning to life, our rights, it gives meaning to our responsibilities. So the heart of this argument lies on one centerpiece: is individual freedom more important than collective security? I guess yes, because are we willing to scrutinize the personal liberty and freedom of people on the basis of some security? We all want to live in a safe and stable society, right? But what is the point of safety if we are not free to be ourselves? Security without freedom leads to control, and that leads to silence, and eventually it finally culminates to fear. History is filled with examples of regimes that promised security but took away basic freedoms in return. And when is freedom lost, it is rarely regained without struggle. So let's not forget about that individual freedom is not just about personal choices. It's about justice, equality, and the ability to question those in power. Without freedom, there will be no true democracy, no progress, and no peace of mind. I'll conclude my argument by saying, after my fellow will follow, that this is a very good question raised by Albert Camus in his book Myth of Sisyphus. Are the people of the world, is the absurdity of the world good enough reason for us to sacrifice our reasonable dreams for their unreasonability? Deepak, you can follow me.
Thank you. I would like to follow on the point of freedom. I would like to start by saying freedom is not just about choosing an option if you have or not. It's about whether you have the ability to choose or not. And let me be clear, freedom is not just a right, it's the very foundation of having a meaningful life. Without it, I think we will be we will be living in a very controlled society. Yes, security helps in protection, but security, what will you do with protection if you only are told what to do from day one since you're born to the day you die? If you don't have the ability to choose to make decisions of your life by your own self, then what is the point of having a meaningful life? And also, I would like to back up this thing by making some historical points, as Hitler had promised about safety to all the Germans, yet he delivered a tyranny. Even today, in countries like China, North Korea, constant surveillance is justified as protection. But protection without liberty, I think it's just a it's a polished cage. They say security is necessary for freedom, but no, I think security without freedom is just control. And I would like to end my statement with a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. She is an advocate for the universal rights. She has said that a society without freedom might be safe, but it will never be just or truly human. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me begin, not with a claim, but with a thought. Very simple, yet concerning. Imagine a world on verge of war. Not a war of borders and bombs, one that creeps quietly throughout societies. A war of misinformation, radicalization, and propaganda. World much like the one we live in today, where the threat to our way of life doesn't always come from across foreign borders, but from within. We're witnessing a world in chaos, nations divided, people misled, and trust eroded. In such a world, we must confront a society that prioritizes absolute individual freedom without ensuring collective security. It's like a ship without a rudder. Free to move, yes, but dangerously directionless. Let's turn to reality. Between 2016 and 2020, over 1,300 civilians and security personnel lost their lives in Kashmir due to terrorism-related violence. To contain the threat, the Indian government imposed curfews, restricted internet access, and deployed security forces. Now, I pose a question to you. Were these measures a violation of civil liberties? If your answer is yes, I stand there with you. But then comes the more difficult question. Were they necessary to save lives and preserve peace? If you hesitate, you understand the complexity. Because while freedom is a right, security is a necessity. Let's go broader. During the COVID-19 pandemic, countries like New Zealand, which enacted strict lockdowns and prioritizes collective health, recorded just 26 deaths per million. The United States, which initially emphasized personal liberty over public safety, saw 3,000 deaths per million. These numbers don't lie. They show us something critical. In times of crisis, unrestricted individual freedom can cost lives. And when that happens, what kind of freedom are we even defending? Individual freedom is undeniably a pillar of democracy. It is a right, a value, and a good. But like all the rights, it is not absolute. It must coexist with responsibility. And in moments where lives of many are at risk, it is not only a reasonable but essential collective security take precedence. I would like Tejas to take over for the same.
Thank you, sir. So the collective security anchors the Constitution by uniting all citizens under a shared defense pact, ensuring military protection, stable trade via deterrence and safeguarded supply chains, and resilient self-sufficient infrastructure, robust economic resilience, and social welfare investment. Individual freedom does emerge as byproduct of this framework rather than its core objective. When individual freedom is prioritized without limits, the very security of society and the stability of its economy begins to fracture. We have seen this happen time and again and across the different landscapes, as the case is when tension plays out through the climate crisis. When the individual freedom is used as a shield to resist environmental regulations, and people claim the right to pollute, consume, and deny, consequences are felt across the planet. Now, in 2022 alone, extreme weather and the natural disasters caused by the climate inactions led to economic losses exceeding $360 billion, according to Munich Re. Developing economies where fewer resources to adapt suffer most, and millions pushed into poverty, and decades of growth are underdone. And yes, isn't something as you find.
So
My
I'd like to question
will be. I'm sorry.
Deepak.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let me go ahead, please. Yeah, my question is for Shivain. The point you raised is it's entirely contradictory. How is the word freedom and restriction in the same sentence? How do they go hand in hand? I'd like you to please elaborate in that. Thank you so much.
And I would like to ask the question about limits. That you said that you will be imposing limits, but where do you draw the line? I agree. Yes, murdering someone is not a good thing. That's where you can draw the line. But till where are you going to extend it that you're going to control the population of the whole world or at least a country, and you will justify it as saying it's freedom or at least it's a just society or or a safe society just in the name of protection? Where will you draw that line?
And I have one more question. What kind of security are going to ensure people have no freedom where they are told to lock up in a place?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Let Afzal continue, finish his question. He had finished it before the time got over, but let him finish now. He wasn't clear.
Okay, I was asked ensuring safety and security for everyone by restricting freedom. What kind of safety and security are we are able to provide when people are being told to lock up in their rooms and not able to come out even in the time of pandemics until unless they are not getting idea about what is happening out there, what things they are not supposed to do.
Yeah, Afzal is done now. That's it from our end, please.
May we begin with the first question? One side. Right. So to begin with, what I would like to ask is, you emphasize on a sense of a free world, right? And this free world comes from a sense of democracy. Now, democracy was first practiced by the Greek states. And where did the Greek states take it from? Socrates. So what did Socrates state when he was describing democracy? He stated that a democracy that allows everyone the freedom of voting is one which is where sheep are being taken to slaughter. This is a very good example where fear can be induced into the masses, and we can have a situation where we can induce a very charismatic or a very powerful figure, and hoarding of wealth and power often leads to oligarchies. Devolution of systems into oligarchies. This has been proven time and again. America is the greatest example. The so-called harbinger of peace and justice in the world is probably the best example of an oligarchy today, controlled probably speculatively by the Israeli state, if you may say. We also have various speculations regarding the fall of the Roman Empire, the fall of the Greek city-state empire, the fall of you have very soon we have had in recent modern history, we have had the fall of the Soviet state. However, being collectivist does not ensure that your state is about to fall. Free voting for all is a flaw. Why? Because not everybody voting cannot be a fundamental right. It has to be taught. It is a statecraft. It has to be taught to people. And therefore, our counter agreement is this: a complete free world cannot exist without a system in place first. That is the question.
I'm sorry, sir. Can
Likit,
you repeat the
Likit,
question? I'm
hold.
sorry.
Yeah, you
I'm
can
sorry.
repeat
Can
the
Anindya
question.
sir
After
please?
that, the judges, if you have any questions, you may bring it up now. After Anindya repeats his question.
So I'll go ahead with repeating the question then. The question is basically this, that I want to know if a system is completely hyper individualistic, it is a free world is allowed, as you say. How do you prevent a democracy from devolving into an oligarchy? That was the premise, and the rest was just background. That is the question.
Okay, Shweta ma'am, Srihari sir, do either of you have any questions for either of the teams?
Yes, yes, I have. I have a question. Yes. For the team 3, I have a question. Like, should freedom of expression also include hate speech or misinformation? So, where do you draw the line on individual freedom? And to team 4, I have a question. How do you prevent the security measures from becoming a tool of oppression? And when they infringe on privacy, like individual privacy, how do you defend security measures in such a scenario? Yeah.
Okay, I have a question to first to team 3. First of all, I have the same question like as Shweta had, like the same thing. Where do we draw the line? I mean, I think one of the participants of team 3 already asked this question in a different context to team 4. I'll ask the same question to team 3. Like when it comes to freedom and all, yeah, I don't mean, yeah, I accept a lot of points. I don't accept a few, but yeah, that's the question. Do we draw a line in freedom somewhere, or we never draw a line? Second question, and now another question is, if we talk about China, where they had this one-child policy, I mean, yeah, like in some way, the Chinese government were trying to curb the freedom of the Chinese people for having more than one kid and all those kind of stuff. And then it has actually resulted in no matter what we say about the atrocity of the event or atrocity of the way it was done and everything, end of the day, China did end up having a controlled population. Whereas, for example, the competitors in population, India, we are still not controlling, and still we are having an explosion of population. So yeah, that's one of the questions. And now, okay, that's it. I need to see if I have just a minute. Team 4 was about. No, I don't have any questions for team 4.
I think this time both the teams are very neck to neck. Yeah,
And they are
tough.
significantly better.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Somehow I got removed from the room. I guess I don't know how it happened, but I got removed from the private room.
Hold on one second.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to go ahead first and answer the team four's question, Anindya's question per se. So my counter argument is that firstly, I believe that your question is absolutely blasphemous in the first place. How can you say that the right to vote is not universal? The whole purpose of a fundamental constitution was that to provide a universal acceptability and a universal choice. The right to vote is a core expression for individual freedom. It allows a person to raise a voice in how are they governed and to choose their leader and to influence the laws and the policies that shape their life, basically. They choose their leader. Those are the ones that provide the collective security. If I don't have the first way, how can I say why won't happen if the X wouldn't have happened in the first place? In fact, without right to vote, individual freedoms becomes very limited. It's caging because decisions that affect our life are made without our input or consent. If I don't have the right to vote, if I don't have my primary fundamental constitutional right, what is the point? And voting is just not a political right. It's a symbol of freedom and symbol of empowerment. It ensures that no one is above law. It ensures that equality is maintained and the power remains in the hands of the people. Denying some people the right to vote is essentially denying them the ability to participate fully in the society. And that is what your argument, collective security of the society. If I'm not allowing anyone the participation in the society, how can I say or how can I even make the argument? So I believe that your argument was absolutely trash. Thank you.
Can I respond to that rebuttal or should that be put on hold? Okay. Okay.
I would like to answer to Shweta ma'am's question. So as to like there should be a line, where should we draw that line? Yeah, a line, a boundary is required when it comes to individual freedom or the collective security. But it should come only when a person's freedom is hindering a collective security or is harming, giving any harm or causing any harm to other person. There should be a boundary, and that's why the law and order in this country exists. So to bring up that boundary. So accordingly, personal freedom will be better there and it won't affect the other person's freedom as well.
Okay, I would like to start with responding to the first thing is how do we use freedom and restrictions in the same sentence? You cannot have limitless freedom because at some point you draw the line. That line is the definition that gives you security in the first place. Unlimited right gives you, if you have unlimited freedom of speech, where do you draw the line between hate speech and something that propagates misinformation? When you come to the next point is you just lock up people during the just as you please. You can see it in the pandemic itself, the COVID-19 pandemic that we went during. You saw that states like New Zealand that imposed rules and regulations, curfews and restrictions had only 26 deaths per million, whereas other countries like the US that promoted that did not put these laws in place had almost 3,000 deaths per million before they started implementing such restrictions. The line is when the freedom of one person starts hindering the freedom of the masses. That is where we draw the line. We are not saying that don't give the government all the powers. There are judiciary, there are laws in place, there are courts. Not anyone can just tap anyone else's devices. You need a court order that asks for plausible reasoning. It is not the wild west. We have rules and regulations in place.
As for Shweta ma'am's question, I'd like to put forward a rebuttal for that. When we go into the topic of privacy infringement, right? So privacy infringement, I believe, can be regulated if government transparency is kept to the maximum. If the government is transparent about its requirements and the necessities for which it is placing in the surveillance criteria, for which it is placing in the regulatory standards, these things can be clearly controlled and solution can be achieved without real infringement into private rights. And as far as the second rebuttal goes, I understand that my point might seem blasphemous at first. However, if you understand the depths of democracy, democracy often leads to hoarding of power and hoarding of wealth. Why is that? Because good speakers will always have an advantage over weaker speakers. Good-looking people will have an advantage over lesser good-looking people. And this is a natural phenomenon. Therefore, oligarchies are always developing there. So how do we counter that? By treating this art of statesmanship, by treating the art of voting and as a free and publicly available form of education. If we can educate the masses on how to vote and who to vote for and how to stand firm and resolute when faced with pressures. Otherwise, you can just hand out freebies and then you have the government that you want for. Whoever hands out the most freebies can have the better government.
Okay, that concludes the debate. Unless the judges have something to add or any other points that to be brought up, we'll end the meeting now. The results will be announced soon. Thank you. You may leave now.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.